I'm Dane Rose. I'm an author in relationship dynamics. I've studied a lot of psychology, in particular based on my own childhood with complex PTSD and trauma. I've paid a lot of attention to the uniquenesses and the unique compensating strategies that many children develop to balance out traumas in their early childhood and later childhood. I want to introduce you to my partner, Jen, and I'm going to do a lot of the articulating because that's not her strength. What her strength is an extraordinary capacity to bond with children. Now, she's spent 2 years as an amazing caregiver for this wonderful child, Ia, from around age 8 to 10. And they bonded like nothing I've ever seen before. On Jen's part, my partner, there's just such a joy in caring for this child. And on the child's part, I don't think she's ever had, including with her mother, the opportunity to bond that closely with someone who just adored and was totally there for her. Now, Jen's pretty shy a lot of the time, but she will fight to protect a child that is in need of help. And I saw that immediately because I know how shy she is in all kinds of situations, but she'll stop a bus to see that a disoriented child is safe and out of the road or gets where they're going. She becomes a leader in that context. And it's pretty special to find that that's, that she's something that's what awakes the leader in her. Now, there's a couple of different terrains within which you may want to explore a relationship with Jen and your family. So, number one, Jen is a phenomenal artist. And basically, from my perspective, with a special needs child, you need two things. You need love. You absolutely need love, and it needs to be in a form that is attuned to your sensitivity level, your language, your capacity is very attuned to you. And then it needs to have a form. So there's the feeling and the caring, and then there's the form. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of the forms. So one of the things that I love as Jen's partner is I regularly receive these beautiful cards from Jen in which there are these three-dimensional textural experiences and little notes in them. In this case, we've got beautiful string and flowers and handwritten notes, and Jen loves creating these artistic montages. And again, when she's sharing these cards with me, it's usually the brightest point in her day is the creation and then the giving of something truly special and unique for me. And so she loves creating cards, and so that is one possible way to express uniqueness and caring to a child, is whether it's a daily card, a weekly card, a monthly card, a spontaneous card, something that's really special. Number two, Jen loves to write stories for children, and her English as a Filipina is only about 85%, and so the grammar is not perfect, but I'm a writer. I've written children's stories and I've published more than 10 books. And I love listening to Jen's stories, reading them. They're perfectly coherent. And it's the magic, it's the wonder, it's the imagination that captures me. It's not the perfection of the grammar. So Jen is a writer, and she's a puppeteer. And as an artist, sometimes what she'll do is write a story for a specific child and individual, number one. Number two, create these, as you can kind of see here, this puppet character that's actually glued on to the background of the card, and she'll create these landscapes called Storyland, where the characters are going through, and as she's reading the story, she'll describe what's happening in Storyland. And there can be a custom storyland just for that child, the characters that they love. It can even be favorite stories like, Pooh or Piglet or something like that. We have Mrs. Rose right here, which features in some of the stories. There can be stories about a child's favorite dolls that become cutouts. And so this is really an exciting terrain of collaboration, of partnership, of challenge, of invitation, and of flow in different dimensions. So drawing, writing stories, listening to stories, creating puppets of stories, creating storylands, creating clothes and costumes for different stuffed animals and friends, both of Jen's and of a child's. And so this is part of the terrain. And these can be shared in live video, in recorded video, in recorded audio and email photography, in messaging back and forth. But it's really about creating a safe, nurturing, caring relationship with a safe party, which in many cases a child does not have, because friends can be very cruel at a young age and gossip. And in some cases, a child either feels embarrassed or unsafe, or like it would create a problem to talk with another family member. And that can be as simple as time. If you've got a parent working 40 to 100 hours a week and commuting and all that, and who's behind, and the child gets that every single new time demand is a huge stressor. They don't want to stress you out, but they need to talk. And a therapist like me is often way over the top. It's too formal, it's too structured, but a message with a safe person who cares, who can mediate, and if it's important, bring it to the parent's attention, can be a real gift to the family and to the child. So that's a couple of areas of terrain. And it can be a relationship that's done hourly for $5 to $7 an hour, depending on the situation. It can be a more of a transaction thing where you want to commission a story in Storyland and a puppet and this for a birthday or a special event. It can be a periodic kind of fun surprise card, some kind of regulation, again, as a kind of a monthly project. It can be on an as-needed or kind of wave-like basis. It can be more of a monthly Jen, like a monthly $150 to $300 a month kind of umbrella of different services and stuff. And the key that really makes it special is I've seen Jen, for absolute strangers, spend hours of her time taking care of special needs children that haven't gotten the support that they need for adults. That's something that comes from her heart and is done naturally. And the challenge that I'm putting my mind to as a entrepreneur myself is knowing how priceless this is, knowing just how much she's touched and impacted my life, how to put this together in a way that emphasizes the love and the care, the energy, but also shows the range of what's possible in the way of the choices, because it's not really, there's plenty of places you can go to get imaginative cards. There's plenty of places, there's hundreds of thousands of books you can buy. There's plenty of great stories. But the personal rapport with someone who's sensitive, like, Jen's taken care of a Down syndrome child for 2 years and loved it. And that child just loved Jen so much. Someone that wants to, that isn't impatient, that isn't ashamed, that's proud to take a stand for that child and really be there. That's priceless. And so these other areas are just more of a terrain and an arena in which to play and explore, and the money is just a foundational. Jen doesn't have that high of an expense basis in the Philippines, and so $15 a day pretty much covers her basic living expenses. And it's not about a money thing as much as a chance to give to particularly a Western family where time and individuality and sensitivity is often in short supply. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Jen, and she's much less wordy than I am, particularly with adults, but what are some of the things that you'd really love to do with children, Jen?
Playing with them, hide and seek, and playing under the cover. Yeah, that's what I like to do with the young, I remember before.
And on video, what are some of the things that you would love to do with a special child on video?
I want to talk to them about their emotions, and I want to learn about Western child because it's not the same with the Filipino child, so I want to challenge myself for that.
And can you talk 3 times louder for the camera?
I want to learn about Western children's, how they feel, and I'm so interested to be
3 times louder, Jen.
That's what I want. I want to learn about Western child and learning about their feelings.
Indeed. So anyway, this is Jennylyn, and she's quite reliable. I'm quite a picky business owner myself, and like people to follow through with agreements, etc. Jen's been excellent in our business and other dealings, and so there you go.